Angel Beats, Anime Recap. In a world shrouded in mystery, a young man named Yuzuru Otonashi awakens, not to the familiar sights of his life, but to the strange reality of the afterlife. He finds himself utterly alone, with no memory of how he lived or how he died. His confusion is immediately interrupted by the sight of a girl named Yuri Nakamura, perched with a sniper rifle aimed at a serene silver-haired girl she calls Angel, the student council president. Yuri, the charismatic leader of a defiant group known as the Shinda Senzen, or the Afterlife Battlefront SS, extends an invitation to Otonashi to join their rebellion against God and his servant, Angel. Choosing diplomacy over conflict, Otonashi approaches Angel, seeking answers to his bewildering circumstances. It is from her that he learns the stark truth: everyone in this world is already dead. Skeptical, Otonashi demands proof of this unbelievable claim. In a shocking display of power, Angel impales him with a blade from her arm, an attack that should have been fatal, yet he survives, proving the unnatural laws of this realm. The next day, his indoctrination into the harsh realities of the afterlife continues as he is brutally cut 100 times by another SS member, Noda. After this ordeal, he finally awakens in the hidden headquarters of the SS. It is here that he is formally introduced to the core members of the rebellion. Yuri explains their purpose. They are all deceased, and in this world, they cannot truly die again. However, she warns that if they accept their fate and live a normal, peaceful school life, they will simply disappear, a fate they desperately resist by waging war against Angel. With little choice, Otonashi agrees to join their ranks. Later that night, the SS launches Operation Tornado, a chaotic plan to steal meal tickets from the unsuspecting non-player characters or NPCs that populate the school. The SS-affiliated all-girl rock band, Girls Dead Monster, creates a powerful diversion, their music thundering through the cafeteria to distract the NPCs. While the concert rages, other SS members engage Angel in direct combat. The operation is a success, and the SS retreats to the cafeteria to enjoy the spoils of their victory, cashing in the stolen meal tickets for a hard-earned feast. As he sits amongst his new, boisterous comrades, Otonashi tries to make sense of his new, unbelievable existence in the world of the afterlife. Before we continue, attention please. While this recap will cover the main plot, you'll be missing the incredible action, comedy, and drama that makes this series a masterpiece. To get the full, unforgettable experience, I highly recommend watching the show for yourself by checking out the official Blu-ray link in the description below. Or you just want to watch the recap? No problem. Let's continue. A new day dawns in the afterlife, and Yuri, the ever-resourceful leader of the SS, unveils their next audacious plan, Operation Guild Drop. Their target is the Guild, a subterranean complex far below the school, which serves as the SS's secret weapons factory. The mission's objective is to relocate the Guild's arsenal to the old SS headquarters before Angel can discover and destroy it. Yuzuru Otonashi, still grappling with the bizarre rules of this world, finds himself swept along into the heart of this dangerous operation. The descent into the Guild is anything but simple. It's a treacherous path riddled with deadly traps, a grim reminder of a past conflict with Angel. Yuri explains that these elaborate defenses were set by a previous generation of afterlife rebels, designed to prevent anyone, friend or foe, from easily reaching the factory. The SS members must navigate these perilous booby traps, a task that proves to be a brutal and sacrificial ordeal. One by one, Otonashi watches in horror as his new comrades fall victim to the very traps meant to protect them, their deaths a temporary but shocking setback. As they venture deeper, Yuri shares a fragment of her own tragic past, revealing the heartbreaking story of how she lost her 3 younger siblings in a robbery, a memory that fuels her rebellion against an uncaring god. This revelation provides Otonashi with a deeper understanding of Yuri's motivations and the profound pain that anchors many of the S members to this world. They finally reach the deepest level of the guild, only to find that Angel has already arrived, having bypassed the traps with her own formidable abilities. A fierce battle erupts between Angel and the remaining S members, Yuri and Otonashi. In a moment of strategic thinking, Otonashi confronts Angel directly, distracting her long enough for Yuri to make a crucial decision. Realizing the current guild is compromised, the guild activates a series of massive explosives, choosing to bury the entire facility in a colossal explosion rather than let it fall into enemy hands. The blast is immense, a fiery testament to their resolve. In the wake of the chaos, Otonashi watches as Yuri immediately begins to direct the reorganization of the guild at its new site. Witnessing her take command with such efficiency and resolve, he recognizes the profound strength of her leadership, gaining a deeper respect for the girl leading the charge against the heavens. The episode opens with the soulful sound of Masami Iwasawa, the lead vocalist of Girl's Dead Monster, as she introduces a heartfelt new ballad titled My Song. While the melody is beautiful, Yuri, ever the pragmatist, questions its utility for their aggressive operations. The SSS then welcomes a new specialist, a boy genius named Takayama, whose expertise lies in computer hacking. With this new asset, Yuri devises her next mission, to infiltrate Angel's personal room and crack the password on her computer, hoping to uncover the secrets behind her mysterious powers. To create the perfect diversion, Girl's Dead Monster is tasked with performing a large-scale concert to draw Angel out and keep her occupied. During a break in the training, Otonashi has a chance encounter with the band's new energetic fan, Yui, before finding a quiet moment to speak with Iwasawa. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Iwasawa shares the tragic story of her past life. She spoke of her dysfunctional family and the constant fighting between her parents. Her only escape was music, a passion she pursued relentlessly until her life was cut short by a fatal injury sustained during one of her parents' violent arguments. As the concert starts, Yuri's infiltration team successfully breaks into Angel's room. The performance on the ground soon descends into chaos as school staff intervene, attempting to shut down the unauthorized concert. However, in a final act of defiance and passion, Iwasawa grabs her guitar and breaks free. She pours all of her remaining regrets and feelings into one last performance of My Song, captivating everyone within earshot. Having finally found peace and fulfillment through her music, Iwasawa vanishes from the afterlife in a gentle glow of light, her purpose served. Meanwhile, the infiltration mission yields a critical discovery. Angel isn't granted her powers by a divine being. Instead, the SSS learns that she creates her own formidable abilities using a special software on her computer, a revelation that fundamentally changes their understanding of their adversary. A brief, hazy memory of a young boy on a baseball field appears, his eyes fixed on a pop fly descending from the sky. That boy is Hinata in the past. Back in the present reality of the afterlife, with the lead singer of Girl's Dead Monster now gone, Otonashi suggests the hyperactive Yui as her replacement. During her audition, Yui unleashes a chaotic rock version of a familiar theme, punctuating her performance by kicking the microphone stand into the ceiling. The other SSS members immediately vetoed the choice, noting she is the complete opposite of the serene Iwasawa, and decide to let the band handle her firing. Soon after, Yuri announces that the SSS will participate in the upcoming school baseball tournament, adding a grim warning that any team performing worse than the NPCs will face a punishment worse than death. Hinata eagerly begins recruiting, starting with Otonashi, but finds that all the other athletic members flock to Takamatsu's team instead. Left with few options, he grudgingly accepts Yui onto his team, banking on her small stature to give them an advantage, which only results in the two of them bickering constantly. They then recruit the stoic Shina, who joins purely to compete against Otonashi, whom she holds a grudge against from their mission to the guild. The hot-headed Noda also joins under the exact same competitive condition. Still needing 4 more players, Yui manages to recruit 3 of her NPC fans to fill out their roster. The tournament begins, and Hinata's team barely scrapes through their first game with a victory, hampered by Noda's refusal to acknowledge any of Otonashi's successful plays. It is then revealed that Yuri's threat of punishment was just an empty motivational tactic. Just as they celebrate, Angel's team arrives, accompanied by Vice President Ayato Naoi, her roster filled with skilled NPC baseball players. One by one, the other SSS teams fall to Angel's superior lineup, until only Hinata's ragtag group is left to face them in the final match. The game is surprisingly even, and Otonashi gives their team a further boost by successfully bribing the formidable Matsushita with a meal ticket to join their outfield. As the game reaches its tense climax, Hinata reveals to Otonashi the source of his regret in his former life. He missed a crucial fly ball, a failure that led to him being ostracized and falling into a life of drugs. Hearing this, Otonashi becomes terrified that if Hinata succeeds in catching a similar ball now, he will find peace and disappear from the afterlife forever. In a moment of cruel irony, a batter hits a pop fly identical to the one from Hinata's memory. As Hinata positions himself for the catch that could redeem his past and win the game, Otonashi sprints towards him, ready to interfere. However, before he can reach him, Yui suddenly tackles Hinata from behind in a bizarre act of random revenge, causing him to drop the ball. Angel's team wins the game, but despite the loss and Yuri's empty threats, Otonashi simply smiles, relieved that his friend is still there with him. With exam period approaching, Yuri announces a new plan to assault Angel by interfering with her studies to get her grades to drop. The SSS is to create a series of distractions during the exams, allowing them to swap Angel's answer sheets with fake ones. During the chaotic mission, Otonashi learns from Angel herself that her real name is Kanade Tachibana. The plan goes into motion, but the diversions attempted by Hinata and Takamatsu fail to get any attention. Yuri is forced to intervene by using propulsion engines in their seats to launch them both into the ceiling. Meanwhile, Uyama's distraction involves a failed love confession to Kanade, which caused him to have a mental attack. The operation ultimately succeeds, and rumors spread throughout the school that Kanade received 0 marks on her subjects. Soon after, at a school assembly, it is announced that Kanade has resigned as student council president and has been replaced by a student named Naoi. Feeling victorious, Yuri announces the start of Operation Tornado for that night. As the SSS band, now led by Yui, performs, Otonashi sees Kanade approaching. He notices she has no killing intent and calls off the assault. Kanade walks past the chaos toward the vending machines, but Yuri concludes the operation by activating large fans that blow meal tickets everywhere. In the ensuing whirlwind, Kanade loses her coupon for a very spicy dish called Mappo Dufu. Later, Otonashi finds himself with Kanade's lost coupon and, along with Hinata, tries the spicy meal. Yuri then admits they may have been wrong in their assumptions about Kanade all this time. Under the new authority of Student Council President Naoi, the SSS members are swiftly punished for their past actions by being sent to the reflection room. After their release, Yuri expresses a deep suspicion about their new adversary, questioning how Naoi, who they assumed was an NPC, could act with such unprecedented autonomy. She decides the SSS should adopt a usual rebelling act and hands Otonashi a walkie-talkie for emergencies. Inside their classroom, the SSS members subtly rebel by doing their own things instead of participating in the lesson. Their quiet disruption is cut short when Naoi enters to restore order, forcing most of the SSS to flee. The defiant Noda attempts to attack him but is quickly restrained and dragged away by Hinata and Otonashi. Later, while hiding, Yuri secretly observes Naoi brutally beating up NPCs on the school rooftop. Elsewhere, Otonashi finds Kanade alone in the classroom and, on a whim, invites her to eat mapo tofu with him, an offer she instantly accepts. They eat together in the cafeteria, where Otonashi is amazed by her high tolerance for spicy food. Their meal is interrupted by Naoi, who accuses them of breaking rules by eating outside the designated time. As punishment, he sends both Otonashi and Kanade to the reflection room. Now trapped together, Otonashi is awoken by the sounds of a battle raging outside. He manages to contact Yuri on the walkie-talkie, who delivers a shocking revelation. Naoi is not an NPC, but a human just like them. She explains that Naoi is massacring the SSS members, using hypnotized NPCs as human shields. In a desperate plea, Yuri asks Otonashi to convince Kanade to help them. Otonashi frantically wakes Kanade and explains the dire situation. She agrees to help and attempts to break the door with her hand sonic ability, but the door was specifically designed to resist her skills. She reveals her powers are purely for self-defense and demonstrates several other, non-offensive versions of her ability. Using these different versions, Otonashi devises a plan to pry the door open, and they successfully escape. They emerge to a gruesome scene. The entire SSS lies bleeding and defeated on the school grounds. As Naoi approaches, he declares himself a god, chosen by this world because of the cruel life he endured. He reveals his power of hypnotism, which he uses to control the NPCs and torment Yuri with memories of her deceased siblings. Just as she is about to break, Otonashi attacks Naoi from behind, screaming that no one has the right to judge another's life as fake. Otonashi's heartfelt words trigger Naoi's memories, revealing a painful past where he was forced to live as a replacement for his deceased, more talented twin brother. He was never acknowledged for his own efforts, only for how well he could imitate his brother. Otonashi embraces him, assuring him that his struggle made his life real. Finally, feeling acknowledged, Naoi breaks down in tears as the sun set on a new day. After the incident with Naoi, he is integrated into the SSS, but quickly gets scolded by Otonashi for using his hypnosis powers to bully Hinata. Yuri then asks Naoi to use his powers for a constructive purpose, to help Otonashi regain his lost memories. The hypnosis reveals Otonashi's past life, where his only purpose was caring for his terminally ill younger sister, Hatsune. He worked tirelessly to make her happy, eventually sneaking her out of the hospital to see the Christmas lights she longed for. Tragically, she passed away on his back that very night. After her death, Otonashi found a new purpose in studying to help people, but died in a train accident before he could fulfill his dream. Waking from the hypnosis with his memories restored, Otonashi is filled with regret but also a new resolve to stay with the SSS and its members. The next day, the SSS initiates Operation Monster Stream, a fishing trip to replenish their food tickets. Otonashi spots Kanade in a garden and invites her to join, and, to the surprise of the others, Yuri agrees. During the trip, Kanade hooks the legendary master of the river, a giant fish known as the Monster Stream. Using her superhuman strength, she launches the beast from the water, saving everyone by creating a clone of herself with her harmonics ability to slice the monster to pieces. Afterward, the SSS decides to share the massive catch with all the other students. While cooking, Otonashi and Kanade agree to call each other by their first names, and he asks her to promise she stay with them so she won't be alone anymore. That night, the peaceful event is shattered when Yuri appears, severely wounded, claiming Angel attacked her. Otonashi is shocked, as Kanade has been with him the whole time. Just then, a menacing figure appears above them, a girl identical to Kanade, but with terrifying blood-red eyes. Under the moonlight, a mysterious girl, identical to Kanade, but with red eyes, appears and attacks the SSS. Yuri engages her in single combat to protect the others but is quickly overwhelmed and injured. The real Kanade takes over and attacks her violent doppelganger, resulting in both of them being fatally wounded in the clash. The next day, while the real Kanade lies unconscious in the infirmary, Yuri deduces the attacker is a rebellious clone created by Kanade's harmonics ability. Yuri hacks into Kanade's computer and activates a hidden absorb command, programming it to recall all clones back into the original after a 10-second countdown. Soon after, they discover that Kanade has been taken to the ruins of the old guild headquarters, which is now swarming with dozens of hostile clones. The SSS descends into the dangerous ruins, only to find the clones can replicate themselves, creating an endless army. Realizing they are walking into a trap, they press forward, with members sacrificing themselves one by one to hold back the clones and allow the others to proceed. Only Otonashi and Yuri manage to reach the deepest level, where Yuri fights the final clone. Meanwhile, Otonashi finds the real Kanade and wakes her up. A new, harmless clone spawned by Kanade reveals a horrifying truth. The absorb command will merge the consciousness of all the evil clones back into the original, overwhelming her with their cruelty. Before Otonashi can stop it, the 10-second countdown ends, and all the clones are violently absorbed into Kanade, causing her to scream in agony as Otonashi embraces her. In the nurse's office, Yuri and Otonashi watch over an unconscious Kanade, with Yuri blaming herself for what happened. Otonashi reassures her, saying her actions saved them from the army of hostile clones. Meanwhile, the other SSS members worry about which version of Kanade will awaken her true self or an evil clone. Yuri estimates there is only a 1% chance of her returning to normal. While Otonashi sleeps at her bedside, he dreams of his final moments in life. He awakens inside the wreckage of a train crash, trapped in a dark tunnel. Together with another survivor named Igarashi, Otonashi uses his medical knowledge to tend to the wounded. After discovering both ends of the tunnel are blocked, he takes charge, rationing supplies and keeping hope alive among the survivors. Days pass, and after one of the survivors dies from his injuries, Otonashi falls into a deep depression, feeling he has failed. On the 7th day, remembering his sister Hatsune's need for a transplant, he finds his organ donor card. He fills it out, and inspired by his selflessness, every other survivor does the same. Just as the sound of rescue drills breaks through the rubble, Otonashi peacefully passes away. Otonashi wakes from the dream to find Kanade awake and watching over him. He finally understands his own past and feels at peace, realizing he should have been able to pass on. Kanade explains the true purpose of their world. It is a place for those with regrets to experience a fulfilling youth before moving on. Her attempts to help them achieve this were misunderstood by the SSS as acts of hostility. Seeing the truth, Otonashi forms a secret alliance with Kanade, deciding to help the SSS members find peace so they can graduate. Later, Kanade is officially cleared of wrongdoing in the exam incident and is reinstated as student council president. As punishment, the SSS members are forced to retake their exams. Otonashi observes that Kanade has no memory of the clone incident, allowing them to proceed with their secret plan while she resumes her public role as the SSS's enemy. Otonashi and Kanade meet secretly at a school incinerator to strategize their new plan to help the SSS members pass on. They decide to start with Yui, and Otonashi outlines a plan for Kanade to criticize Yui's guitar playing, confiscate her instrument, and then stage a collision with Otonashi so he can return it to her and start a conversation. During their meeting, Kanade also reveals her latest hand sonic upgrade, a demonic-looking pincer gauntlet. The plan is set in motion during a girl's dead monster practice session, where Kanade appears and tells Yui her playing is ruining the band before running off with her guitar. After Yui learns that the other band members agree with Kanade's assessment, she angrily chases after her. Kanade then fakes a collision with Otonashi, allowing him to give the guitar back to Yui. Otonashi uses the opportunity to talk with her, and Yui reveals the regrets from her past life. She explains that a car accident left her completely paralyzed, so she spent her life bedridden, only able to watch others live on TV. She tells Otonashi all the things she wished she could have done, starting with performing a German suplex. After several painful attempts for Otonashi, he teaches her the proper form, and she successfully performs the wrestling move. Next on her list is soccer, where she wants to win a 5-on-1 match. Otonashi tricks Hinata and other SSS members into forming a team. During the game, as Yui takes the final shot, Kanade helps from a distance, using her new hand, Sonic, as a slingshot to divert the ball into the goal. After that, they move on to baseball, but after several days of trying, Yui is unable to hit a home run and decides she is content with her efforts. However, she reveals she has one final wish, to get married, something she believed was impossible because of her paralysis. Just as she asks Otonashi if he would marry her, Hinata appears and declares that he will. He tells Yui that he would find her in the next life, no matter her condition, and that he would fall in love with her and marry her. He paints a beautiful, detailed picture of how they would meet and how he would take care of her, promising her a life of happiness. Hearing his heartfelt confession, Yui finds true peace and disappears. In the aftermath, a mysterious, shadow-like creature appears and is killed by Noda, with Yusa reporting the emergence of this new shadow threat to Yuri. While contemplating who to help next, Otonashi is approached by both Hinata and Nayui, who wish to aid his plan of helping everyone pass on. Their conversation is cut short when a large, shadow-like creature attacks Nayui. After a brief struggle, Otonashi and Hinata manage to defeat the new enemy. The incident is recorded by Yusa and shown to Yuri, who realizes this is a new threat, separate from Kanade. She calls an emergency meeting and asks Kanade about the shadow's origin. But Kanade denies creating it, admitting the last thing she programmed was a pair of wings for herself. Suddenly, gunfire erupts outside, and the group finds a small army of shadows attacking the SSS. After a long and difficult battle, they defeat the creatures. Their relief is short-lived as a frantic Fujimaki reports that Takamatsu was consumed by one of the shadows. They later find Takamatsu, but he is now an empty-shelled NPC with no memories of his past. Yuri gravely explains to the others that there is nothing they can do for him. That night, Yuri gathers all the SSS members and addresses the new danger. She validates Otonashi's plan to help everyone find peace as a viable option for survival in the face of this threat. Otonashi explains his intentions, but some members are hesitant to abandon their long-held rebellion. After Hinata and Nioi voice their support for Otonashi, Yuri tells the group they must choose for themselves whether to fight or move on, and dismisses the meeting. Afterward, Yuri privately tells Otonashi, Hinata, Nanoi, and Kanade that she will investigate the origin of the shadows alone, wanting them to focus on finding peace. She admits she knows Kanade's human, not an angel, and that she needs her power. Before she leaves on her solo mission, Hinata expresses his concern for her safety. While the others contemplate their future, Yuri heads to the school library, suspecting a connection between the shadows and the Angel Player program. There, she discovers a secret passage in the computer room floor that leads back into the old, abandoned guild. As sunrise breaks, Kanade soars into the sky to battle the ever-increasing number of shadows, while Otonashi gathers Hinata and Naoi at the SSS headquarters. Otonashi meets with the remaining members of Girls' Dead Monster, who tell him they have found peace and are ready to move on. After encouraging him to fulfill his mission, they, along with a group of other SSS members, disappear. On the school grounds, the shadow threat has grown worse. But Otonashi's group is soon reinforced by the remaining SSS members, Noda, Uyama, Fujimaki, TK, and a newly lean and agile Matsushita. As the main SSS force battles the shadows on the surface, Yuri continues her solo descent into the old guild. She fights through ambushes and receives a final gift of a powerful rifle from Cha, the guild's leader, just before he passes on. Resting in the ruins, Yuri regrets her long-standing conflict with Kanade before a shadow ambushes her. She suddenly finds herself in a classroom, living the life of an ordinary NPC student. Called upon by a teacher, she gives a defiant speech, rejecting the peaceful but fake life for her own, real existence, no matter how miserable. As the illusion shatters, she is saved from a sea of shadows by Otonashi, Hinata, Nanoi, and Kanade, who sensed her distress. Together, they fight their way to the deepest level, with Kanade unleashing her full power to clear a path for Yuri. Yuri finally reaches the second computer room, a server hub running the Angel Player program. There, a mysterious boy reveals himself to be an AI program tasked with managing the world. He explains that the world's original programmer fell in love, which was a bug that could crash the system, so the AI's purpose is to turn anyone who finds love into an NPC to prevent this from happening. The AI offers Yuri the chance to control the world, but she refuses, unwilling to become a tyrant like him. Declaring that she fights to protect her friends, Yuri destroys all the computer systems and the AI itself. Sitting in the wreckage, she finds peace, realizing she is no longer fighting for her past but for the friends she has now. She then wakes up safely in the school infirmary, surrounded by Otonashi, Kanata, Hinata, and Naoi. 3 days after the battle with the shadows, Yuri awakens in the infirmary to find Otonashi, Hinata, Naoi, and Kanade still by her side. She admits that she has finally moved on from her past regrets and is relieved to hear the other SSS members have also found peace and disappeared. Otonashi then leads the remaining 5 to the gymnasium, where he has prepared a graduation ceremony for the Afterlife Battlefront. The ceremony begins with their own hymn, with unusual lyrics about Mapo Tofu written by Kanade, which they all sing together. Hinata, having lost at rock paper scissors, acts as the principal and awards diplomas to everyone. Otonashi then gives a heartfelt speech, thanking the SSS for the meaningful experiences they gave him. After they finish singing a final song, the time comes for them to pass on. Crying, Naoi sincerely thanks Otonashi for helping him find peace and disappears. Yuri then shares a hug with Kanade, apologizing for their past conflict before she too vanishes. Hinata insists on going next, not wanting to leave Kanade alone with Otonashi, and after a final high-five he disappears as well. Now, alone, Otonashi asks Kanade to stay with him in the afterlife to help others, and then confesses that he loves her. Kana explains that if she were to admit her feelings, she would disappear, as her only regret was that she was never able to thank the person whose heart donation allowed her to live a little longer. In a final, shocking revelation, she tells Otonashi that he was her heart donor. This is why she was drawn to him and why he was able to recover his final memories while being so close to his own heart, which was inside of her. With her regret now resolved, she asks him to tell her he loves her one last time so she can finally move on. As he repeatedly tells her he loves her, Kanade thanks him and disappears in his arms. Left completely alone, Otonashi cries out her name before he also passes on. In a brief epilogue set in the living world, a boy resembling Otonashi hears a girl resembling Kanade humming a familiar song, and he reaches out to her as the story ends.